shockingly a move that nobody could have ever seen coming is that Frank Vogel, an NBA champion, the the whipping post of the LA Lakers, has been, quote-unquote, relieved of his duties. This entire thing has been a mess. Just a goddamn mess. I keep trying to run away from this, not talk about it. But the news keeps coming out like water out of a fire hose, as fast and as furious to try to help a burning building. And there is no burning building engulfed in flames more than the purple and gold LA Lakers. And so an ocean of water needs to put out that fire, and so more news is just going to keep flooding out of that hose. Right at the buzzer, folks. Literally. Right as you hear the buzzer of the LA Lakers beating the Nuggets, who for all intents and purposes were trying to lose that game so that they could duck out of playing the Dallas Mavericks. I mean, literally, 82nd game. Austin Reeves moment, just exciting stuff for him. You know, Frank Vogel finally gets a win. Like, literally, right then. This is the bomb. This is the sound of the Woj bomb. Here it is, folks. Quote, Frank Vogel has coached his final game for the Lakers. A decision that's expected to be shared with him as soon as Monday. Sources tell ESPN, Lakers search expected to be lengthy and expansive with no clear initial frontrunner. Pause. A decision expected to be shared with him as soon as Monday? How about as soon as right fucking now? Excuse me, you just shared that decision with him before his players have even wiped the sweat off of their bodies, before they could even turn the showers on. Also, then, because of said tweet, Frank then has to answer questions about his inevitable firing, about said Woj bomb, and his response was, I haven't been told shit. Let's go to it. Let's find it.
Frank, right at the end of the game, Adrian Wojnarowski tweeted that the Lakers are going to be firing you, a decision they'll let you know tomorrow. Have you communicated with the front office at all about your future? And I guess what's your reaction to hearing that?
I haven't been told shit.
And I'm going to enjoy tonight's game, celebrate what these young guys did in terms of scratching the claw and getting back in this game, getting a W. And, we'll deal with tomorrow.
Did that get back to you before you walked in this room?
Yes.
Did that affect?
I'm going to enjoy tonight's game and what our guys did tonight and the way we finished out this season. I'm proud of our guys tonight.
Any more questions for Coach?
So many questions for Coach is coming. And then, of course, the exit meetings that were scheduled for today, Frank Vogel mysteriously was left off that list. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Even though Rob Pelinka later on today said that they hadn't made the decision to fire Frank until just today. So the fact that he was off the exit interview list, fact that Woj decided to put out this bomb, all of that is erroneous. This is just a decision we made right now. Charles Barkley, one of the men, the myths, the legends of the game, had this to say about said Woj bomb. Let's get to it.
Frank Vogel is getting screwed.
He sure is.
Because whoever put these old-ass geezers together, they deserve the lion's share. They've scapegoated.
Pause. That he was talking about Rob Pelinka. Charles Barkley doesn't know who Rob Pelinka is. That's okay, but that's him.
Frank, obviously, and Russ all year. But this team, I told you from day one, I said, the only chance this team got a chance to being competitive is Anthony Davis. And clearly he's not doing what he's supposed to do. But
pause. That means staying healthy.
To blame Frank and Russ for putting this old-ass team together, I mean, I told you, ain't enough icy hot, being gay, absorbing Jr. WD-40. My grandmother used to put WD-40 on her knees and ankles to loosen them up. They should try that for them old ass geezers.
Only team in the league with an average age over 30. The Lakers.
Hey, and they're not over 30. They're not 31 either. They're 36, 37.
Average age over 30. Of course, GM Rob Pelinka then had to speak up about these things today. We all wanted to know what he had to say about, I don't know, leaking information about firing his head coach, humiliating him as the buzzer goes off on game 82, revealing plans he has no need to reveal at this point in time. I don't know, even though he's had Frank's head inside the hole of the guillotine pretty much from game 1 through 82, this is what he had to say. Let's get to it. So many thoughts. Today's not going to be a day of like finger pointing or unwinding all the specific reasons. We just felt organizationally at the highest level it was time for an pause. Why not? Today is the best day for that. I'd like to know who I should blame for this cacophony. New voice. And those decisions are made at the very top level in a collaborative way by our basketball operations department and ultimately with Jeannie and Tim and the leaders of our organization. We just felt like it was time for a new voice. And that's not to say anything against the incredible accomplishments that Frank Vogel's had. He was a great coach here, and he's going to go on to be a great coach somewhere else. We just felt like it was time for a new leader, and that's why we made the decision today that we did. Does anybody else feel like they just need a shower after listening to that? He also went on to say, quote, "I have tremendous respect for Frank. You've leaked out multiple times that you've wanted to fire him all season. That man you have tremendous respect for, you have a funny fucking way of showing it." He also said this, quote, about the Woj bomb, of course, "We don't respond to unsourced media reports. And in terms of the timing of our decision, I'm going to keep that internal." Quote, hold on, pause. You are the source. You are the source. You've been on Woj's podcast 4 times this year. We know, Rob, it was you. We know it was you. I personally know for a fact it was you. He also then goes on to say he is the one responsible for building the Lakers roster, so if it doesn't go well, we can blame him. Pause. We should blame you now then. The roster decisions ultimately rest on my shoulders. Says he will take ultimate accountability for how the roster is built. So that means you are the one that should be fired then. That means that you are the original sin of this whole thing. Anthony Irwin from Screen and Roll, a Lakers Beat podcast network, blog, something, says this. "This was the least cool / calm / collective Rob has looked in his position his entire time. Also, he's positioned himself as the person to hold accountable if things don't go well from now on. Congratulations, Rob Pelinka. You are the meat shield now, brother." Snake! Snake! I can't fucking stand him. For those who don't remember, this all kind of goes back, my hatred and also confusion, because he was with Kobe a long time, and I'm like, how did Kobe stand being around this motherfucking guy? He didn't need him. He's Kobe Bryant. What does he need this snake around him for? Anyway, Magic Johnson, the Magic. Remember, Magic was in charge, pretty much de facto in charge, while Rob had the title. Rob was waiting in the wings for Magic to step aside. They were basically the dual-headed, like, people in charge. So Magic steps down. Nobody knows why. Stephen A. asks him why. If you don't remember this interview, let me refresh your memory. Let's just get to that, because if you're wondering why this narrative continues to persist about him being a snake, it starts right here.
When we sat down and negotiated, I told her, I said, listen, I can't give up all my businesses. I make more money doing that than becoming the president of the Lakers. So you know that I'm going to be in and out. Is that okay with you? She said yes. I said, do I have the power to make decisions? Because that was important for me to take the job as well. She said, you have the power to make the decisions. So I said, okay, let's go do it. She said, I'm going to put you with Rob Pelinka, because I didn't know Rob. So she put us both together. First year in, it was tremendous. I wanted the strategies to be, let's get up under the salary cap, because we were way over the salary cap. And I said, let's trade some people, get some draft picks, so on and on. D'Angelo, you know, great guard, but had a problem when
snitching.
Shaggy P and
Yes.
the whole thing went down. So I knew I had to get him out. We made some moves. That draft pick turned into Kyle Kuzma. So we felt good about making that deal. Drafted Lonzo Ball, #2. I know you're still against it, but
Yes.
we can debate that because I think he's outstanding all-around point guard. Then Josh Hart. So things got going in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
And then I start hearing, you know, Magic, you're not working hard enough. Magic's not in the office. So people around the Laker office was telling me, Rob was saying things. And
Rob Pelinka.
Rob Pelinka. And I didn't like those things being said behind my back, that I wasn't in the office enough and so on and on. So I started getting calls from my friends outside of basketball saying those things now were said to them outside of basketball. Now, not just in the Laker office anymore. Now it's in the media and so on.
And these are people you trust.
Exactly. And people got to remember something. Being in this business for over 40 years, I got allies, I got friends everywhere.
Let me go back to the backstabbing comment, because you said that when you resigned abruptly inside the Staples Center. And you just educated us that friends you trust, that got to them outside of basketball.
Right.
So did it come down, I understand the Luke Walton element, but when you allude to the backstabbing, was it Rob Pelinka that you're talking about? Is it Rob Pelinka and other people within the Lakers organization? Who exactly were you talking about?
No, just Rob. I think.
Wait, one more time.
Is it Rob Pelinka that you're talking about? Is it Rob Pelinka and other people within the Lakers organization? Who exactly were you talking about?
No, just Rob. I think.
No, just Rob. Just only Rob is the only snake. Good job, Snake. It was 2019. We might have forgotten this. But then you continue. What do? What do snakes do? They continue to slither in the grass, behind the scenes, and then snipe with their venomous fucking fangs, and then all of a sudden you're poisoned and dead. Off to the side, dead body, warm. That's where Frank Vogel is right now, while Rob Pelinka is still wriggling around in the tall grass, pretending to be innocent amongst all of the fucking drama. I cannot wait until they fire his ass. I cannot wait for more dysfunctional reporting to come out, because you know it will. I mean, by the way, there's another side story. I don't even need to mention it because it's so ridiculous and not relevant to this story, which is like Lakers in the middle of the season were texting on the bench in the middle of games. Like Lakers in their uniforms. Let me just back that up. Just set the stage. Imagine Lakers in their uniforms during the game, sweat still on their face, waiting to be subbed back in, are just texting. Just fucking on TikTok and Instagram. What? Delicious. Wednesday, because we're not going to get into all of this now, because we have playoffs and everything, but we will. There's now new surfaced reports about who is going to take the Lakers' job or who's in the running. 1 is Doc Rivers. 2 is Nick Nurse. 3 is Quinn Snyder. We will break all of that down Wednesday. Because this is just, Frank's body's still warm. Literally, the reports of who would take his job before he was actually told he was fired. Just fucking disgusting things that you cannot relish in because you just hate to see him. You just hate to see him. Couldn't have happened to a better organization.